You! Yes, you! Hello there, my name is Richard, aka RickB321. You know, sometimes I like to think the gaming industry is like an actual living and breathing organism. It responds and adapts to the changing face of the world surrounding it. Okay, I'll put that into less philosophical terms. Basically, the industry churns out new things depending on what the gaming community wants out of it. Most of the time, they indeed do give the audience what they want. But then there are a few select things that I myself can think of that they don't seem to give us. Maybe it's because the product isn't up to scratch yet. Maybe cash flow has been reduced for the developers. Or maybe they're just so born idle and lazy that they don't want to make it for us. It's understandable for the former two cases, just so selfish sometimes for the latter. And with this, I'd like to share with you some of my top 5 things I would like to see the gaming industry do. Okay, just some housekeeping before we start off. These are strictly my own opinions and are based solely on the games I have played firsthand or have enough working knowledge of to be able to constructively talk about them. And if you're from the future watching this video, and some of the things that I talk about here have happened, please don't be a complete anal tosspot in the comment section being all, but this has happened, you don't know your facts, fag nugget, tra-la-la-la. And just one more thing, this is my first countdown list, so if it's not up to par, I do apologise, and I'll try to improve it for next time. So with that out of the way, I present to you my top 5 countdown of things I wish would happen in gaming. In at number 5. It's great to see the development of the Unreal Engine through the years from when it first started out in 1998. The engine is almost the staple tool that many educational institutions use to nurture future game technology employees. And it's the beating heart of some fantastic titles ranging from Gears of War, Bioshock, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and the PC ports of the first 3 Harry Potter movie games. What? Really? I've not known this for long. But I want to talk about the actual Unreal series. The Unreal Engine was first illustrated with the release of the first Unreal game, and since then a whole series has been created. And some of the series' most popular outings have been the Unreal Tournament spin-offs, providing some of the most solid multiplayer first-person shooting gameplay that I can think of, almost as if it's showing all the others how to do it. These games had a very gentle learning curve, they were fast-paced, action-packed, and just a great deal of fun. Now the one qualm I have with this series is that its most recent release, that being Unreal Tournament 3, was all the way back in 2007, with the latest release of extra content in 2009. Since then there's been, well, nothing. I mean, granted, lots of people in the industry have their hands on it, and they've given us some very swell games using the Unreal Engine technology. I'm just a little bit sad because there's been this and no return of any actual Unreal series games. Probably that's why I look around and hardly anyone seems to give the Unreal series much notice. Not least in the YouTube community anyway. So I would like either of these things. Bring back some more Unreal series games, or just don't take too long making an Unreal game by the time you release Unreal Engine 4. In at number 4. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is a rather interesting little thing. A quirky beat-em-up style game that tries to culminate together some of the best loved characters that have graced the PlayStation platforms, providing fun and energetic multiplayer brawling to leave the audience stunned and amazed. Yeah, except none of those things really happened. I mean, granted, it was a fairly decent effort, it's presented well, and there's a fair amount of nostalgia in there. But if I'm brutally honest, it's not really come close to rival the more established Super Smash Bros. Series. It's pretty much like the older brother here that seems to be a little bit better at everything. Well, let's take a look at why. You'd expect a fighter game to have characters of a set health that would go down when you're damaged, or a percentage system like in Smash Bros. Case. In Battle Royale, however, a character can only be killed, so to speak, by building up a gauge and using one of the 3 levels of special moves. Now, this has garnered a fair amount of criticism because the idea of health is really ambiguous. And then, there's the reason why this is number 4 on the list. The character roster. Taking a look at it, There are 20 of them available to you, and it includes the likes of Kratos, Parappa the Rapper, Nathan Drake, Jak and Daxter, and so on, as well as third-party characters like Big Daddy from Bioshock. While that might sound good, 20 characters is actually not that much choice. I mean, not compared to the 35 plus combatants from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And it's left out some really important characters, I feel, the most glaring absentee being one Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, you remember Crash Bandicoot, right? I don't know, one of the stars of PlayStation in its heyday? One of the most obvious choices for this game, surely? How about other poor souls like Wanda from Shadow of the Colossus, or how about beefing up the roster with more characters from the same franchises? No, forget that, perish the thought. Let's instead just put 2 Coma Glass in and go for some fat princess from a bloody downloadable game. And eventually, we'll announce some DLC with 2, that's right, 2 whole new, really obscure characters. Yeah, dick move, Sony. Dick move. In at number 3. Now, being a hugely passionate fan of the series I'm about to discuss next, this pick's rather close to me personally. I'm on about Sonic the Hedgehog here. Sonic, a truly household name in the world of gaming. You took the fight to Mario in the early 90s, you've amazed us with your super speed and super cool rebellious attitude. You've basically made my childhood. And then, to just sink to new lows over the last few years like you did, that was heartbreaking for me to witness. The last decent game before that slumping form had to be Sonic Heroes. Since then, the franchise was plagued by a less than stellar spin-off title, a poor next-gen remake, and just so many weird story tangents that seem to ignore what made Sonic famous to begin with. Arabian Nights, Arthurian legends, and then there was that, frankly, god-awful abomination. I mean, what manner of hallucination-inducing substance filled the room when they decided to create the Werehog? I mean, when you look at Sonic Unleashed, you saw that faint glimmer of hope with the daytime levels. They were fabulous to run through, they rewarded your well-timed jumps and rolls like the classic games used to do. They were just heavenly to play through. With the nighttime sections on the other hand, you had to go through the same routine over again. Bit of a puzzle solving session, massive brawl, more puzzle solving, massive brawl, bit more puzzle solving, massive brawl. I mean, it was just so repetitive with no real depth in it. And then you find out that those levels last around 3 times as long as the daytime running levels. Yeah, that was enough to give me a chronic hernia. Now, hopefully, Sega have got their act back together once again with the recent Sonic the Hedgehog 4 episodes, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations performing so much better than the previous games, because they keep that special thing that makes a great Sonic game great, and that's speed. My advice to Sega, if they are to keep my interest, keep Sonic fast and exciting. No more Werehogs, for goodness sake. In at number 2. If you know the original Rayman game, you most likely know about its sometimes crazy difficulty. What you may also know is about how visually stunning it looked, and how smooth the game ran with the whole of it being constructed using sprites and computer images. So when I got a first look at the recent Rayman Origins game, I was reasonably excited, and then I played it. And gosh darn it, it was one of the best gaming experiences for me personally, because it was so quirky and cartoony. It was only made better by having up to 4 players cooperating together, or generally larking about in the game. Now, I suppose this was also mainly helped out by the graphics and the overall presentation, since every single sprite, background image and graphic used in all the levels were all hand-drawn by a select group of artists and put into the game using something called the UbiArt framework, an in-house graphics engine that, quote-unquote Game Informer, allowed the artist to focus on the art itself rather than having to worry about the technical aspects of the game development. The engine can take care of the image distortion automatically in-game, so everything still looks pretty much perfect. All of this together means that the game runs flawlessly at 60 frames per second, and it makes for a very solid platforming experience. I for one love the technology behind it and was fascinated in learning how it all came together via the small blog that they made for the software. And then I heard that the man behind Rayman, one Michael Oncel, if I've pronounced that wrong, forgive me, was campaigning for the UbiArt framework to become licensed freeware that us normal plebs can get our mitts on. Wow, when I heard that I was so excited, because it really seems like you can make some really beautiful stuff in it, and I would have really loved to see what other hugely talented artists and designers would be able to do with it. And that's a lot of reallys in one sentence. But as of the time of uploading this video, there's been no other news or any indication of progress towards making the framework freeware. I mean, the blog I mentioned, there's been no entry since July of 2010, and I'm getting so confused when I search for it on Google. It seems to suggest that it's already out there, available on downloads or torrents, but since there's been no official news for that, I don't particularly want to trust those download rumours. Ubisoft, unless you've done it already, please make your UbiArt framework software available as freeware, or just license it out to other people. I really want to see what else it's capable of doing in different hands. And finally, in number 1. Team Ico may only be known for creating a grand total of 2 games. What they're also known for is creating a grand total of 2 fantastic, highly immersive games. Both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are famous for giving the player so much more than the ordinary gameplay experience. They're almost an art form, taking place in lavishly presented worlds using bloom lighting to almost overkill levels for a deep, atmospheric feel. The mechanics may have been ruthlessly simple, but the experience has been described by some game critiques as indescribable. Funny. My personal favourite is Shadow of the Colossus because as you play it, you're left to question so many things as you strike down each gigantic beast, thanks to the immersive aspects of the gameplay. But I'm digressing, and I don't really want to leave too many spoilers in the video. So let's get on to the reason why I'm talking about Team Ico in the number 1 spot. If you've not known already, they have a 3rd game in development called The Last Guardian. Spiritually, it follows the same recipe. Bloom lighting to the max, deep immersive story, and having the young protagonist with his companion. In this case, a huge griffin-like creature called Trico. All well and good, you might say, and the screenshots and videos that have been released all seem to support your positive opinions. So, why have we not got this game yet? I mean, they officially gave us the concept back at E3 2009. Okay, I'll run it through as best as I can. Here goes. The game came to public notice back as early as 2008, when Sony Japan announced job openings for their site to be part of the development team. They put up their proof of concept video out at Sony's E3 2009 conference, and it was all jolly good. They were expected to show the game again at the following year's E3 conference, but it never showed up, because they were worried that their product wasn't polished enough to compete with other major game announcements, and so left that until the Tokyo Game Show in the same year, where they also gave details on a release date in 2011, along with the HD collection of the previous 2 games. Now they would have put a demo of The Last Guardian in with this HD collection, but they never did. And Team Ico Supremo Fumito Ueda said delays arose from the different approach they made to the game, dealing with research and development first, and making this separate from production so they had time to work on the ideas before putting them in, some of which are still undecided on to this day. Then, in December 2011, Ueda said he was leaving his post at Sony, but is still working on the game as a freelancer and development consultant. The executive producer of The Last Guardian also left Sony at the same time, and it's unknown if he's still working on it, but Team Ico have sought additional help on the game from Santa Monica Studios. The game was not seen at E3 2012, and before the Gamescom 2012, US journalists noted that the game had passed an important 3-year development deadline without any product release after filing the game concept. And this generally results in the expiration of the trademark, and led many to think that The Last Guardian had been shelved altogether. But Sony later confirmed that they still had the game in development, and they also said they had a working product ready during Gamescom. Were it not for technical errors that arose while testing this product, we may have already seen the final release of The Last Guardian, and will possibly be sitting at home right now playing and enjoying it. Right, now that I've exhausted myself with that highly long-winded roundup of The Last Guardian's development nightmare, I really hope that the guys at Team Ico and Sony have pulled their fingers out at last, and they'll give us The Last Guardian very soon. If not that, at least, just give us a playable demo. I want to play this, goddammit! And so there you have it, my countdown of the things I want the gaming industry to do. Now, game developers, if you're watching this, I just want to say one final thing. The things you've seen in this list, get them done, now! Oh well. So if you have any opinions on this list and want to share your ideas that I might not have mentioned, do leave them in the comments below. Rates and subscribes are also very much appreciated. Other than that, I'll sign off here. Stay you, stay awesome, my name is Richard, and I'll see you guys later on.